in February this year, we prepared a report, and on invitation by the National Assembly Justice and Legal Committee, which confronted us, especially at the point where people were, Kenyans were making noise on the matters of fighting corruption and how we are not achieving. And we prepared a report which talks about cases, and especially prioritized cases based on the nature of the case, especially public interest, the urgency that it's driving, and the volume of particular issues raised within the same. And the same committee also raised about some, they actually raised a point with us that we could as well give some other specific cases that they had issues with. For example, Mumia Sugar or this and that, because a particular MP has disinterest in that, so they raised it with us. And we prepared a report and gave on 19th of February a comprehensive report which talks about all the cases that we have, and especially the prioritized ones. A report that also talks about the challenges that we are facing and the resource requirement for that purpose. Again, because we had like 4 or 5 meetings with that committee within that month, we also had developed another report which talks about resources and resource requirement. Now, this is these are the basis on which this particular report was developed, because this report that we talk about is not a list, actually. It's a report as far as I'm concerned, but it was drawing from the same, actually updating on certain areas. That's why it has parts. Part 1 talks about our achievement in the last 2 years. Part 2 talks about the resource requirement and what we had already asked for. And part 3 is where we come to the cases. And of course, the number of cases we have there are more than those that are in the initial report. Actually, if I had more time, I would have come with it, if I had time from my office, and shown the contents of both. And I can also assure you that there's nowhere in the current report where the cases that were listed in that report of 19th of February have been removed. The report was, for me, a confidential report. It wasn't meant for the public consumption as it is. I never foresaw that, as far as I'm concerned. That's why it is marked confidential and specific to the request at the time. And I want to state that also the report that we gave to Parliament earlier is what I actually shared initially, but at that point, was it useful if it comes to taking responsibility, probably by the person or the recipient of the report, and it can only be useful if he knows who particularly is the problem and confront them as individuals as such. So for me, it wasn't going to be something tabled in public. It was meant to be used to engage in that matter.